This is video number 3. And when I first started doing this, I was convinced that I was not going to know what to talk about. And I realized that there is content like everywhere. And now it's only been 3 days and I'm starting to take notice of this. And so a funny thing happened yesterday. Right after I recorded my video, I received a call from a friend. This friend is an ex-executive, we'll call it director, right? So, but had a wonderful position at a Fortune 500 company, a very well-known, prestigious career. And he decided that he wanted to become an entrepreneur. And what he did is he went out, raised a bunch of money, bought a multi-million-dollar company, and left his safe career at a huge corporation. Good salary, good bonus, the whole thing. He stepped into the ring, and that's not easy to do. So just by taking that step, he has entered into that 1% of people who make that move. And unfortunately, things went like they do with entrepreneurship, right? They went very well. This guy raised capital, bought a multi-million-dollar company. He's never bought a business before. He's never been an entrepreneur before. He closed the transaction. Things were going really well for a while. And then all of a sudden, things didn't go so well. Their PayPal account got, I guess, frozen. PayPal does this, I suppose, from time to time based on transaction volume or something like that. Never experienced it myself. That created a cash crunch. At the same time, he had a number of customers that just stopped paying him. And when you do a business acquisition, typically it's in the form of a leveraged buyout. That was this case. It's not always an LBO. There are plenty of other ways to do deals, but this is how they structured the deal. And so when things don't go well, you now have a fixed debt number that you have to carry every single month. Now, he did bring in an equity partner to put up some of the capital, but to secure the balance of the loan, that equity partner had to put up some rental properties as collateral. Their lender was a shark, a Wall Street individual who essentially had a heads I win, tails you lose kind of a situation structured with them. I didn't know him at this time when he did this deal. So when things go sideways and you're in that position, it can get real bad real quick. And this is how a lot of private equity bought companies end up in bankruptcy, because they lever the hell out of them. Anyway, this story has a purpose. That friend called me yesterday and he was distraught. And the more I lean into this brand, the more I realize how important it is, because some of the things he said to me really hit home and I'm grateful for them. But he said, Branden, I've always admired how open you are about your story. When I hear you tell it, I don't feel like I'm suffering in solitude. I don't feel like such an idiot. I don't feel so alone. I actually feel inspired to try to work my way through this challenge because of the way that you have handled and recovered from essentially total catastrophe. Or I'm still recovering from it. I always will be, right? We're always building. And what I said to him, he was very down. I mean, this guy was in tears. He said things like, I've let people down. I've let my family down. I feel like I'm failing alone. I am forced to put on this like strong face and put on a facade for everybody around me to show strength. I feel like a terrible provider because he's now rolling all of any extra capital is now going right back into the business. This is the stuff you don't hear so much in the entrepreneurial world, right? He's making sacrifices. His wife is paying their rent. And as a man, part of our biology is to provide, protect, and to create shelter, right? And so those are like some core tenets that I think just drive us as men. And so he's having to rely on his wife to be able to provide. And that's something I've had to do, frankly. I'm still doing that. I'm still in the process of rebuilding my life. And it is a very humbling experience to have your ego shattered. It creates this sense of loss of identity. He identified as a successful entrepreneur who knows how to do deals, corporate background, strong resume. And now all of a sudden, when things are falling apart, that identity shatters, right? And I've been through that identity crisis experience, and that's really what he's going through. So I tried to support him. He's, at the point where he's ready to quit. He's running around begging people to let him build websites for them. That's how dire the situation is. And my advice to him was, look, you're still standing. You haven't fallen over. You're still battling through this. And that makes you a dangerous motherfucker. That makes you a weapon. And so quit beating the shit out of yourself. Stop with the negative bullshit talk that's just just not true, and get focused, right? Begin to set a deliberate path on not only how you're going to navigate this situation. And I've navigated cash crunch situations. I've done turnaround situations. I've been there. I know how hard it is. I know how stressful it is. And so I gave him some advice on some things he can do to try to turn that situation around, but more so for himself. And I was reminded of a quote by Viktor Frankl, and it's, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. And this is something that's very personal to me, because at some point in my story, I had to just let go. When it came down to it, I had to make a decision between two absolutely horrible choices. And all it is like, okay, I'll pick the less shitty one. And that's it. Like, you don't have any other options. And so right now he's in a situation where, one, he needs support. And that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm going to be building a community of, corporate executive, entrepreneurs, finance guys, hedge fund people who are all facing struggle, people who have always tried to achieve the best that they can in life, and then they get kicked around a little bit and they don't know what to do. These people are generally not used to falling over, particularly if they're younger and this is kind of their first challenge in life. And I think this is his first big professional challenge that he's facing. And so I encouraged him to look within and to not quit and to not give up and to just keep moving. It reminded me of I was working out with a young guy. I was kind of mentoring him a little bit, and I put him through this like ridiculous physical challenge this weekend. And he's like, I'm 22 and I'm getting the shit beat out of me by a 35-year-old. And I was like, yeah, you are. But you know what? Look, man, I'm going to do this with you. I was already done, right? I already did the whole routine. I'm waiting on him. And so what I said is, when life gets hard, it's no different than what we're doing right now. All you have to do, put your feet together and move one foot just a tiny little bit in front of the other, and then just move the other one a little bit in front of that one. It's just little steps at a time. And I finished the workout with him, right? I went rep for rep with him and we finished it together. And that's what I'm trying to build. I'm building a community where I can help guide people, and other entrepreneurs can help guide each other through an experience that is something that they feel like they're not going to get out of, something they feel like will never go away. But I also believe very strongly in finding mentorship and being a part of a group of people who are like-minded, who have been through similar challenges, who can share experiences with each other, who can share ideas and solutions with each other. And so that when you feel like giving up, when you feel like quitting, you feel like there are no other options, you have the support of people who've all been through similar experience and can share their knowledge. They can share their tools, they can share their resources, they can share their activities that help them navigate that situation. And the reality is that he may end up going through a bankruptcy with this business. I don't think it will bankrupt him personally, but the business itself may end up going through a bankruptcy process. I don't know. I don't know the details well enough. They may, for all I know, they may turn this thing around and they may do really well. But right now, he's in that moment where he feels like he's falling off a cliff and has no one to reach out to. And so that is why I'm building this. And really what it comes down to is understanding that there's no perfect path. Nothing in life ever works out exactly as we have it planned. We are in many ways not in control of the things that happen in our lives. We can influence them. There's no question about that. And so what it's all about is building that anti-fragility. It's becoming highly fucking resilient, and the ability to push through these challenging situations, to run through every fucking wall that gets stood up in front of you. That is what makes you a weapon. And that is the lesson that I hope to share through some of this content, through some of these videos, and definitely in a lot of my writing and on my podcast, where we share story, like incredible stories of people who have gone through a wide range of challenging experiences and come out the other side. And so I hope that this has been helpful. I hope that there's been some value in this, and I look forward to continuing to create these types of videos. Thanks.